Have you seen these little plastic ornaments and wondered, what the heck am I going to do with those? I've got a great project for you today to jazz up these Christmas ornaments and make them totally personalized for you. And how we're going to do that is we're going to make a little knitted cover on our Addi knitting machine, and there's multiple sizes. This is a 2.5 inch ornament. This is a 4-inch ornament. We've got even as big as a 5-inch ornament. So let's go through how to make this and what supplies you need to do this. It's a quick, easy project, and you can personalize it to whatever color you want with depending on what yarn you choose. If you'd like to follow along with the pattern, I've got a link down below on Etsy for how to make these Christmas ornament covers. There's a 10% discount code below, so go check it out. But if you don't want to buy the pattern, that's okay. You should be able to follow along just fine to be able to make these Christmas ornament covers. So go check out the link below. And if you want some other fun Christmas projects, I've got a Santa hat linked up here. Make yourself some Santa hats with your Addi knitting machine as well. Let's get into it and I'll show you what supplies you need and how to make these ornaments. It's really quick and easy. Okay, here we are at the knitting machine. This is my Addi Professional 22 needle knitting machine. You're also going to need a pair of scissors to cut the yarn, a tapestry needle so when we cast off and we're weaving in our ends. This calls for worsted weight, and today I'm going to use this Caron Simply Soft, but you could use any yarn that you want that works in your machine. I've used this metallic I Love This yarn. That works really well. So basically just whatever yarn works good that's worsted weight, we're going to use that. You don't need any waste yarn for this project. You're also going to need your plastic balls, and I've gotten some at Hobby Lobby, I've gotten some at Michael's. Just depends on what size you want to use. These are the little 2.5 inch size balls. This one I believe is a 3-inch one. You can get these big huge ones like this, which is a 5-inch ball. And you're also going to need a hot glue gun that helps attach the yarn sleeve to the ornament. And then optional is you can either get some twine, you can get some holiday themed little ribbons. Depending on what color yarn, you can match it up with your yarn, and that will help if you wanted to hang it on your tree. I've also put some little jingle bells on. Last year I made these for my family, and you could also, if you wanted to personalize them, put the year like 2025 or anything like that. Totally personalize it, but they're really simple and quick and easy to make. So let's get right into how to make these ornaments. Okay, we're gonna do just a long tail cast on, and I'd like to leave maybe about a 10 or 12-inch tail. We'll put that down in the middle. And then we're just going to do our normal cast on where you weave it in front and back of each of alternating teeth. So this tutorial assumes you know how to use your knitting machine. This is not a beginner how to use your knitting machine, it's how to make the ornament tubes. So once we have that casted on, I'm going to make the 3-inch ball, the 3.5 inch ball, and sometimes you kind of have to play around when you get a new size, but typically I like to do anywhere from about 16 to 20 rows. So I think what I'll do today is I'm going to start out with 16 rows, and we'll see how that goes. We'll reset the counter here. Sometimes the amount of rows that you do is totally going to depend on the yarn that you use. Sometimes even though it's a worsted weight yarn, it's going to be a little bit thinner or thicker. And then also everybody holds their tension just a little bit differently. So if you hold your tension really tight or really loose, it's going to mean more or less rounds. So that's basically why I tell you to do, you know, an experiment and see how many rows that's going to work for you. So we're just coming up here to our last round. That's going to be 16 rounds. And so I'm going to go ahead and leave about a 18 to 20 inch tail, because then now we have to come in and cast off. I'm going to make sure that this last needle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cast off all these stitches. And this is our last stitch here. This is our first stitch. I'm going to take that off. Just gonna cast it off, picking up all those loops. Okay, so after you have the tube off, I just give it a little stretch just to make all the stitches kind of fall into place. And then since we already have the needle on the cast off edge, I'm just going to go ahead and cinch that tight. And I'm just going to kind of hold it there because I'm not going to do any weaving in or anything until I do a trial fit. So I'm going to take my ornament and just push that down in there. And hold on to the bottom here. And then if you can find the cast on string right here. So we're just going to kind of give that a tug. And so you just want to snug that in around the neck of your ornament. And I would say that I probably need maybe one more row. See how the stitches are really opening up? That's pulling really tight on it. So for this one, I would say I would do more like 18 rows instead of 16. But since I have this made and I have a 2.5 inch ball, I'm going to try that one and see. Then this way this one won't go to waste. So open this back up here, pull this one out. Let me grab this smaller one here. So this is a 2.5 inch and this is 16 rounds. So I'll slide that one in there. Well, now this one's just a little bit big for that one. So see how it's kind of loose and sloppy? So I'm gonna whip out another one real quick that has 1 or 2 more rows, and we'll try to put it back on the 3-inch one. So that's what I mean when you have to do a trial size. So you don't want it to be too big like this, where it's definitely too loose. And on this other ball, it was definitely too tight because the stitches were really tight like this, and we don't want that. We want it to have good coverage, so where it would look more like this, where the stitches are nice and firm together. So I will meet you back here in a second when I make a new one real quick, and we'll show you how to assemble this. Okay, I'm back, and I ended up making one with 19 rows for my particular tension and yarn that I have. This is Caron Simply Soft. And so that I feel really good with that fit. It's not too tight and it's not too loose. So I'm gonna move my knitting machine out of the way and get my hot glue set up so I can show you how I attach those so they don't slide around. Okay, I've got my hot glue set up here, warming up. And what I'm gonna do is take this, the top of my ornament off so I don't squish that or get it in the way. Then I'm gonna undo my top. Okay, I'll slide the ball out of there. Okay, so the bottom here, remember we just kind of did a trial fit, so I want to cinch this as tight as I can so there's no hole left in there like this. So cinch that down as tight as you can, and I like to take my needle and kind of route it around that last row of stitches. So you can get that nice and tight. Okay, then I want to route my yarn to the inside of the bow, so it's not showing obviously on the outside. And then I'm just going to make a couple knots and knot this off, and you don't really have to do a lot of weaving in because it's going to be hidden inside, but you don't want that the yarn tail to really be showing that much through your stitches. So I'll just weave this back and forth. And then I'm going to be putting hot glue in there so it's not like it's going to come undone because it'll be glued. I just put one little knot in there for safety measure. All right, then I'm just going to trim off and leave just a tiny little short tail. I don't want to cut it right at the edge of the knot, but this is going to be all hidden down inside. Okay, so my hot glue is ready. So I'm going to get my little cuff ready. And I'm just going to put, since I already have it turned inside out, this is going to make it easier to put it back on. So I'm going to put a little dab right here at the bottom center of the ornament. And you know, hot glue dries fairly quickly, so we want to center that cinched closing on the very bottom of our ornament, and that kind of holds it in place. And then we'll bring that back up over our ornament. Got hot glue all over the place here. And then we'll cinch this closed. And what I like to do with this side is wrap it around the neck of that ornament a couple of times, just for safety measures, I guess. So I'm going to weave it in and out of the stitches here around the neck. Just to kind of help secure it a little bit firmer. And then when you feel satisfied with how secure that is on there, then I'm just gonna make a knot real quick here. And this is optional. You can choose to put another little dab of hot glue here on the top. Just depends on if you're gonna be hanging it or not. But if I did put some glue on there, I would just basically take I guess I'll go ahead and put a little bit on here just to secure that to the top. Just like that. And then we'll bring our little top of the ornament back over and get that stuck on the top. Okay guys, there's the finished ornament. Let me know in the comments below what color you ended up making and what yarn you use. I'd like to keep track of that and let me know which works good for you, what colors you decided to make, how many you decided to make, what sizes you made. Make as many as you want in all the different colors you want. These balls actually happen to come with a cute little red and white string, so I'll probably leave that on there. But if you get some plain ones that have just a real dollar store type thing, you can change that out and put a nice ribbon or some twine depending on the theme that you're going for. But I hope this video tutorial helps you. If you want to grab the pattern, I've got a 10% code on Etsy. The link is in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video for another fun project.